put me down for whatever. I just figured it'd be better that we figure that out first.
Hey, fuck it. We'll do it live. We always do.
We are live.
Well, there you go. Benny makes it just in time.
Glad we started slightly late to accommodate Benny's. I was going to make a religious joke, but I'm going to pass on that because this has already been divisible.
No, it's not Passover. That was Rosh Hashanah.
Happy belated New Year, though.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
I don't know the word for that one, though.
Shana Tova.
God bless you.
Something about Manitoba?
Pretty much.
Well, I clicked the live button. I don't know what YouTube is doing, but neither does they. So,
It says we're live.
hello
on
to all
YouTube.
you. One more time. Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 314 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live unscripted podcast in Canada. It's unscripted because I didn't write any show notes. It's September the 13th. My name is Andrew. I'll be your host. Joining me tonight, we have Gavin, Pierre, Jeff from the other CPP, and Benny, who's writing this in as we speak.
Yeah, that's how unscripted this is, folks. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show, so please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. If you're a good writer and like to script the show for us, please send us.
Even if you're a mediocre writer, if you're willing to show up, that would be better than our current writer, which is...
Nobody. Version of the show is available at Stitcher, iTunes.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/PPP and become a Patreon. You get a better quality version of the show for just $1 an episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
Do you hear that, Chris? Do you hear that, Chris, on YouTube that I know is watching right now? We have t-shirts. You don't have to make a substitute t-shirt for yourself anymore and hand draw our logo. Not that I don't appreciate your pedagogy, but like t-shirts are back in stock. Thanks to Pierre and Melissa at Off the Wall Customizing. We have shirts. They sent them to me. I counted them and made sure that we got the number that we were expecting, and I put them on the website. It's great. We have a bunch of shirts. Please buy them so that I have more money. Then I can buy more shirts. Well, I was going to say I have more shirts than I can wear, but that's not true. I could wear all of the shirts, but I'm not really.
You will.
It's more the extra mediums that are going to be the problem.
Yeah.
They're going to be tight.
Tight like a tiger.
Yeah. It's not going to be a good look. So remember, subscribe to my OnlyFans. $5 if you want a picture of that. $20 if you don't.
$20 is $20.
$20 is $20.
Yeah. In this economy.
Yeah, Chris, for actually, or I guess other listeners, if you are looking to save some money on shipping and do want your t-shirt and are local to me, I would happily arrange a COVID-safe delivery, which means on my porch with a beer, or at the local gun club, which probably involves less beer. Probably, emphasis on that.
Unless it's the obligatory beer and wings after the match.
Yeah, drop me a note and remind me what's going on, because I'll forget otherwise, because the alcohol and also the Monday night and also I'm very forgetful. But remind me and I will get you squared away that we will do an in-person shirt thing if you want an in-person shirt thing. Oh, and I see Eric is also on. And Eric, if you're the same Eric that I think you are, your shirt is not in the mail, but it will be tomorrow. All right, time for my obligatory legalese moment. In order to protect our listeners and ourselves from the ramifications of things we may or may not say on the internet, what are you drinking? And we'll go clockwise. Jeff, I don't remember if we've covered this. Jeff, do you drink? You drink.
I do. Yep. I just have a Coors Original.
Nice. It's no banquet, but it's pretty close.
It is the banquet.
It's not Banquet.
Well, if you go to the store, they don't have Banquet anymore. They just have the original. I haven't been able to find it.
I know they discontinued it, and I'm told that it's the same, but it doesn't. I don't. Maybe it's the can. There's something that seems a little different about it.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
It's
It might be-
pretty close, but not
might
quite
be-
the same.
Might be the tap water they use.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be. I forget who's making. It's licensed through Molson, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
You know
So,
what?
I mean-
Next time I go over to the dark side there, because I live so close to the dark side Quebec, I'll pick up some cores out there and see if it tastes different. See if the Quebec water is any different on that flavor.
Well, yeah, it makes you vote for the block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're going out that way, you got to pick up a case of the 50. That's
Just Labatt 50.
it. Sounds classier though when you say it in French.
Labatt 50.
Yeah.
I'd rather not. Benny, how is the range, and are you drinking?
I am not drinking tonight. I still have to do a beer run. I've run dry and I need to replenish. But the range is good. I got my final supervised shoot in, and yeah, I just need to send my money, and then I'm a full member at East Elgin. I can shoot in the indoor range whenever I want. So, yay!
Well, that's pretty cool.
More range.
I am
time
a
for
little
me.
bit concerned about your lack of alcohol, though. That is not the
Yeah.
best planning.
Yeah. The
Fortunately,
other
this is not the
CPP
Prepper
would be very
podcast.
upset,
where
yeah. Very upset.
Alan will lecture you about CO, and I will just lecture you about your lack of beer, which I find disappointing.
Sacrificial wine I gotta save for Friday nights and Saturdays. So can't dip into
Yeah,
that.
I'm not saying sacrifice some wine. I'm saying you got to stock up.
Oh, I sacrificed some wine on Friday night.
Oh, yeah? How's the keto train treating you?
It's good. I had a couple of cheat days.
That look says a lot.
It's more the copious amounts of alcohol I've had over the last few days.
That will do it. Pierre, what are you drinking?
40 Creek and Pepsi.
Nice. Can't go wrong with 40 Creek. And Gavin? What are you drinking?
Signal Hill and Diet Ginger Ale this evening.
Oh, changing it up. Diet ginger
I
ale.
went to go get some Diet Pepsi out of the fridge and realized there was not enough to make a mixed drink of podcasting proportions.
So you had too much Pepsi?
No, not enough. Not anywhere near enough.
So you had none.
Well, there was
Well.
like, if I was making a single drink for myself, it would be fine, except that I make like a giant 4 drink in 1 drink. So like a very, very strong. And I probably would have drank it very quickly and been hammered very quickly. And I'm trying to pace myself a little. Saturday was a little rough. Well, Saturday was great. Sunday was a little rough.
as happens.
Yeah.
Did I skip you, Pierre? Did we ask Pierre what you were drinking?
I'm
Yes.
drinking 40 Creek and Pepsi.
Oh, I did that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I just realized he held up his glass, and I was like, "Did we miss Pierre? Have I had that much to drink?" But
No, just everybody talking. I tend to drink more. So
Yeah, no,
we'll see
fair-
how the
fair
rest of the show goes.
I'm gonna hold up my very fancy. I got a very exciting can this week. It's a Roman Candle from Bell Woods, and it's 6.8%. And it does not taste like a Roman candle. It does kind of taste like a pine tree, and I'm about that.
Well, it's not quite as fancy as your can last week from the place there in Barrie the Flying Monkey, but you know what? It'll pass, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not mad about this. This is pretty good. We also have the Patriot Challenge going on, which we should go around and see how people are doing. If there's something they're succeeding at, or maybe a way that we can encourage them. I was talking to a friend of the show earlier today, and my dear friend Tyler, who, congratulations on the recent addition to his family, by the way. My dear friend Tyler said that the best thing about working out, or the thing that he misses the most about working out with other people, is the amount of shit talking that happens in the gym. And it's just not the same when you do it by yourself. And he was telling me that he used to have a gym partner who would verbally harass him if he wouldn't put another 5 pounds on the bar.
Yep.
Apparently he almost died several times as a result, but the important thing is he pushed his limit and got better.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Working out by yourself kind of, I shouldn't say sucks, but it does suck. But working out with someone that, you know, is willing to push you and be there if they pushed you too much definitely makes a big difference. Right? Because if you're just by yourself, right, you could just be like, okay, well, I'm comfortable here, and you just stay there, compared to someone that's there willing to push you and say, no,
Well,
keep going, you know, add a little bit to hopefully a safe extent.
I mean, self-motivating is, I mean, motivation is bullshit. We already know this from Jocko, but self-motivating is very hard. Having that other person to sort of drive you to be better makes things so much easier. I mean, the dedication to go and do it on your own day after day really takes a lot of hard, like, mental work.
It is hard to do it by yourself. Like most things, it's more fun with a friend.
Yeah.
So the Patriot Challenge stuff, reminding people, speaking of the exercise piece, 45 minutes every day, which hopefully everybody got theirs in. I got mine in, went for a little run. This is the week of the Army Run. If you are into that sort of thing, the Army Run is not in Ottawa this year. I don't know if you can still register. I think it's still open for registration.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they would turn away money.
It would be really silly. The Army Run runs through the 10th to the 19th of September. Gavin and I are signed up for the 26-kilometer version.
Yeah.
Which is actually a 5K and a half marathon, but you could do them together if you want to, which I don't.
Yeah, no. But yeah, this is going to be, like we were just saying, one of those things that's going to suck. We were supposed to do it all together, and then plans kind of fell apart. We will likely be doing it all on our own. So yeah, going to do a 21.6 kilometer all on your own takes a little commitment.
Yeah, but it's okay. We'll get it sorted out. It'll be good times. Hopefully people have got their exercise in, even if they're not doing or preparing for the Army Run. Is 45 minutes of exercise is not nothing.
No.
There we go. Chris says he was biking for 2 hours today, distributing his Meet Your Liberal Team election pamphlet from the CCFR. Good pamphlets, by the way. I appreciate those. I picked up a couple from our friends at Select Shooting Supplies this week when I was in giving Dean a lot of money for ammunition.
If anyone is in the Mississauga area, let me know. I have 1,000 of them to hand out over the next few days, and I can't hand out 1,000 of them all on my own. So,
not with that attitude.
Drop the,
I thought you had a tax shelter. You should be able to just take a few days off. Just go walk them around. That you can get your 45 minutes of exercise.
Think of it as an investment. Write it off.
If the Liberals don't win, you might get to keep your tax shelter.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good investment.
Or hopefully someone that will switch the OIC.
Right. Just answering Eric's question here, or saying a comment saying that I could use water. I could use water to mix my whiskey with, but then I would have a liter of something that tastes like just straight whiskey.
Yeah, but watered down whiskey.
Yeah.
Or
put in the aqua de vide.
Yeah.
Or put the big boy pants on and just do a liter of whiskey.
I mean, if I was going to do it,
that would be impressive. I would be impressed. I would be impressed. Also, like practicing a skill
on Saturday. Yeah. Does that count as practicing a skill?
Well, you didn't die, so yes.
Perfect.
Not dying is a key skill. I don't know. Did you guys get your practice on today? Did you do anything for hard skill stuff?
Target practice.
Target practice counts as a hard skill. Yeah. Shooting is a diminishing. What do you call it? Diminishing skill. Diminishing.
Skill. Yeah.
Skill. Yeah. Time. Yeah.
You got to do it. You got to be on top of it. So yeah, get your target practice in. I feel like that's a good one, Benny. I definitely didn't get my 10 minutes of dry fire in today. there's usually at least one meeting where I'm just like on the phone and I'm not doing anything and I can like holster up. Today was not that day.
Yeah. I mean, I would just do that now, but then I have to kill my video for this because, the YouTube doesn't let you handle guns live.
Yes, and it would sound not unlike another Canadian podcast where there's constant clicking and clacking and slide racking and other distracting noises in the background to irritate me with.
I didn't know you listened to Slamfire.
Not anymore.
Not or any less. Read your book for 10 minutes, which as a reminder, book club this month, 2 more weeks. If you don't have it yet, there's probably no copies left on Amazon, but you could definitely use our Amazon link to try and get the more expensive version. September this month, we're doing New Confessions of an Economic Hitman. You don't have to use the new version. You could just use Confessions of an Economic Hitman. The new version, the paper version of the new version was $25 when they were in stock on Amazon, but I think we've bought them all now. So Bezos, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy your new rocket ship. Still kind of looks like a penis.
And the new one will look like a bigger dick.
So if you're looking for a book, play along at home, do book club with us. That's a good one.
Yeah. This was a decent book too. I enjoyed it.
I haven't started yet, and I'm a little bit worried about that, but I've heard good things. Dave is saying good things about it. You're saying good things about it, Gavin.
It's easy to read, which is nice.
Same.
It's kind of infuriating, but not as bad as Saul Alinsky was.
So is it like the same kind of infuriating? Like I'm going to want to throw him into a wood chipper, or?
I mean, you kind of do, because like the guy kind of sounds like a bit of a liberal POS, but kind of, I guess, comes around at the end and then starts exposing all of this stuff. Good book though, but I mean, it's a little infuriating.
Okay,
I've made 2 Amazon orders and completely forgot to order the book, so I'm gonna have a crunch time to try and get this in. Thankfully, I have to make another Amazon order, so I'm gonna try and throw that book in and get it read before the end of the month. But yeah, no, from everybody talking about it, saying it's a good read, I'm excited to hopefully read it.
I just finished another one that we should maybe look at adding to the thing, because it ties in with a lot of stuff we're doing.
What's it called?
The Talent Code.
And is it on the list yet? Have we put it?
I don't think so. I just finished it. I actually was reading a different book and he referenced some of the stuff from it, and I was like, that sounds really interesting. So I went and read that one after.
Well, it's all
about training, like, and for literally anything, and how people that sing or do math or do physical sports all do the same thing. And this is how to like really activate your training to really improve at something.
All right. Well, I'm putting it on the list because I guess if I don't put it on the spreadsheet, nobody's going to put it on the spreadsheet.
Well,
so talent code's on the spreadsheet
like
now.
the other day, so.
I mean, fair enough, but that was the other day. What about today? What have you done lately?
I went and picked up 1,000 pamphlets to hand out.
That could have been practicing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Chris on YouTube says you can actually find it as an audiobook, Economic Hitman on YouTube. So if any of you guys are too lazy to try and read it or something, look it up.
Or you're like me, you need a book with pictures.
Or you like to listen to it double time.
I mean, I only read it for the articles.
I actually was given.
Jeff is old enough to get that joke.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else blew right past it.
No. I was going to say I actually did receive a Playboy article in high school for its because it was talking about Lockheed Martin.
Okay, well now I want to know more about that, but we'll leave that for another episode, I think. While we're on the subject of books, I'm having a really hard time putting down the Jack Carr novels. Not that's all relevant, and I don't think we should do them on book club because it would not be a good book club book, I don't think. But if you're looking for like generic spy thriller fiction, like Tom Clancy style stuff.
So spy porn.
Yeah. If you're looking for spy porn, like if you want Tom Clancy stuff as though it was written in 2018, the Jack Carr books are pretty damn good. I'm really enjoying. I did 3 in August, and I'm almost done the 4th one now this month.
There you go.
So, yeah, because that's what I need: more hobbies, more books.
Yeah.
Also, reminding our listeners to drink their 2 liters of water. Beer does not count. If you mix it with whiskey, it doesn't count.
You might need to add at least another liter if you do that.
Yeah, it just water. Just drink 2 liters of water. And for some of our listeners, particularly our more mature female listeners, yes, you'll have to go and curse me frequently as you run to the washroom. Sucks to be you.
But, at least you're getting paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, got to make use of the washroom on company time.
Yeah. There's a whole rhyme about it and everything.
We've all seen it written on the bathroom at work.
Yeah, 2 liters of water is not a lot of water, but it's not no water, especially not if you're used to that.
Yeah.
I sit and have my second beer now because I've had my 2 liters of water, and now I'm going to have some beer because I earned it. I went for a run. It was awful. I didn't like it. So beer to make up for that. Also, completing one task to improve your life. And this is a very open-ended one because it's not a hard skill. It's not a book. It's not your exercise. It's not a prescriptive do a thing. It's always improving your fighting position one. So if you guys, and I'm expecting Jeff to have a good one from Prepper Podcast here. Have you guys improved your fighting position today?
Today, no.
That's no
A
good.
few days ago I
Yes.
did, but not today. Today was a bit of a slow day. I spent 4 days with a bunch of friends up in the bush at a fish camp with no internet, no cell, no nothing. So yeah, I didn't drink 2 liters of water a day either. Probably alcohol I did, but not 2 liters of water. for sure.
Probably more than 2 liters of beer, though.
Oh, definitely.
By breakfast.
All right.
Yes.
He was improving his fighting position by drinking beer.
I don't know, man. Relationships are important.
Maintaining those mags is very important.
Skill, yeah. Relationships is as important as skills, right? That's a good one.
Yeah.
My improvement this week, I've my task to improve my life. I've turned a piece of scrap into a $1,300 ROI. I literally took a broken machine out of the trash and made it work again.
What's an ROI, if I may be so?
A return on investment. So I literally dumpster dived a broken ass machine, and I was like, I can make that work. I can totally make that work. And $200 in parts later, I have a $1,300 machine that functions.
Nice. Congratulations.
So
I sighted in my red dot. And cleaned my guns, my handguns.
These are important things. If that improves your life,
guns?
these.
Weird.
Not
We'll
often.
get to that. We'll get to that, Gavin. No, I got an old clay thrower, like a trap machine, that was in non-operable condition and had missing parts, and a couple of calls to one of my favorite places in Southern Ontario, and I'm going to go to Lowry's and get some stuff, and I have a working trap thrower.
Nice. That'll be good for the upcoming duck and geese season.
Yeah, not for me because I'm not going to. Do you know what it takes to shoot ducks? You have to get up super earlier in the morning and go lay in the water, and it's cold and wet. And do you know how opposed I am to doing those things?
You know what? I some mornings, especially probably Tuesday mornings, I have a hard time getting up early for work. If I'm going hunting, I'm up 2 hours before my alarm.
I mean, I get it. The easiest day of my week is whatever day I need to get up and go shooting because I don't need an alarm that day. But
No,
I get it. But I don't know, man. Something about duck hunting. Just like every time Marty's explained it to me, it's like, what is? I don't see the appeal. You got to get up when and drive where, and then you're gonna be cold and wet. And cold and wet. I can be cold. I can be wet. I can be uncomfortable in a lot of way, but like it's the cold and wet part that's like I'm not
my
really
least favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, when you combine
if I was
yeah, they're no
cold,
fun.
yeah, like if I was cold and dry, right? Like if I had my like snowsuit on, like snowmobiling kind of thing, or like if I was going to be out for like in the bush in my winter whites and have my snow gear, like okay, but I'm cold and dry, right? Or if I was going to be wet, like if I'm going to go swimming, I can be okay, sure, I can be wet, but it's the cold and damp and having all the clothes on or like the wet feet stuff,
Those
like
two
that
things
stuff is
they don't mix.
not a fan of that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can get some stuff to help you keep you dry. Maybe
I
not the
know,
cold
and I
part,
know I
but-
probably sound like a wuss to people that actually hunt, but that's not my cup of tea. If I'm going to get up early, I want it to be for a good reason. And shooting a bird in the face, it's not good enough in my mind.
Yeah, but what about
Probably
a lot
other
of
things
birds
you'd like
in
to
the
shoot in the
face?
face that would make your day.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
election
I mean,
is around the corner.
the election is around the corner. Well, we should.
Yeah. On a completely
Election
unrelated
aside.
note,
Actually,
the election is-
mentioning that, I totally gapped on that. I did complete a task today that might improve my life. I voted.
Ah, good for
Well,
you.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I also did my early ballot voting today. How was the polling where you are, Jeff?
I walked right in, walked right out. There was nobody there.
Nice.
I had an improvement over this year over the last time that we voted because the last time I went on regular election day, and for some reason they teach the Elections Canada volunteers, employees, whatever. I mean, they're not really employees because it's like one day, but they get paid. But anyway, the poor high school student that had me as a person the last time we had a general election wanted to bonjour me. So I bonjour her right back. Bonjour, je m'appelle Andrew. Je suis here to vote. And yeah. Well, no, she was not having any of it because like I gave her like 3 of the best lines I had in French, which was about the 3 only lines I had in French. And
Most
just
of which are
like
song lyrics, yeah.
yeah, but like just deer in the headlights, no idea what to do. Like she was completely. Why are they training them how to greet people in French if they don't if they're not actually bilingual? Which was
Especially in an area where there's not really a whole lot of French speaking.
no, and that was why I was being a dick about it because I can parlez-vous good enough to order some food, so I figured I could parlez-vous good enough to like fuck with somebody
you
from
know how to
Elections
say
Canada
PT.
that was being a dick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, this time for me was a very similar experience to yours, Jeff. Like we were there when polling opened. We waited for a minute for the line to go through, and we were out in 10 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah, I went in about 1:30 and like I said, there was nobody in there. I met a couple coming in as I was going out, but there was nobody in there. It was in and out. I think somebody had last week mentioned about their little pencil they give you. I thought they had somewhere to dispose of it. I was told I had to take it with me because I had touched it.
Well, that's how you get the codes from pencils.
Oh wow, they didn't even tell me to do anything. I actually put mine back in the cup.
Oh,
Benny,
yeah.
Do you know what's going on, Benny?
I'm like,
there's a
like,
pandemic,
I'm
Benny.
like, this is a giant pencil. Like this is like bigger than like HB2, right? Like this is not your normal size pencil. And then like there's this whole pencil there, and I'm just like, okay, what do I do with this? Oh, okay, I'll put it in the bowl.
Yeah, because it looks like everyone's getting their little like golf-sized pencils.
Oh no, this was like full sized. Not mechanical, but full size, and everyone was
Well, we know where the
Listerine
next
on the way
COVID
in.
outbreak is going to be.
Yeah, mine was definitely a golf
Yeah,
pencil.
we're- yeah.
Well, I had my golf pencil. I did not keep my golf pencil. They had a pile of new pencils and a pile of used pencils where I was.
Oh, but whoever has to get rid of those used ones, that's an even greater risk of COVID now. All the people have touched those. That's how the variants start. All the different strains mingling together and mixing in some sort of weird COVID virus soup.
Yeah, we've had the Delta variant, whatever else. We're gonna have the election variant.
We're gonna get all of the Greek letters.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the umlaut variant. That's the one with the 2 dots on top.
I'm still wondering how we can not tell the difference between COVID and the flu, but for some reason they can tell us which COVID it is.
Well, yeah, it's because it's all made up nonsense.
It's all
It's whatever they say it is. How dare you question the science, bigot?
yeah.
I'm used to that.
Yeah. But see,
So,
I'm gonna keep my pencil, hoping that we kick the liberals out. And I'm gonna frame it, and I'll be like, "This is the pencil that got Trudeau out." I'm gonna frame that shit.
I'm kind of disappointed the
Gold-plated.
pencils are not like a little bit more election-y. Like they don't have Justin's signature on them. They don't say Liberal Party of Canada. They don't even say Elections Canada.
They don't
It's
even have
almost
a
like
Canadian
they've learned
flag on them.
something. Yeah.
No, I'm a little bit disappointed with the quality of golf pencils that we received this election. I did
Yeah.
notice that my ballot was actually printed by a local printer, which I was surprised by that they didn't come from a centralized place.
Well, I mean, if they
I
don't
didn't
all
look
look
at
the
mine that
same, it's
much.
easier to fake it, right?
Well, I was just surprised that mine actually had like a printer in my municipality. I was surprised by that they didn't like truck them all in from like the government printer in Ottawa.
Yeah.
It's too busy printing new money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Government
inflation go
printers go
burr.
burr, yeah.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys not done the early election yet? Jeff
No,
said
I
he had.
I went to go on Friday, but then got busy. So hopefully I'm gonna go in tomorrow. I've got my form already. I just kind of
Is your early polling is open tomorrow?
maybe, I don't know.
Because
Have to look.
mine's done. It was the 9th to the 13th.
Oh well, then I
Yeah,
guess I'm
mine was the
SOL.
same schedule. Today was the last day for early polling where I am.
Well, yeah, I think I'm SOL. Then I'll have to just go vote on the day.
Well, no, I think you can still do a special ballot. I think you just have to visit your Elections Canada place. You might not be able to go to a polling place.
Yeah, well, I think mine's one and the same.
I
I'll
think
figure that out.
if you do that, you gotta actually legitimately know the name of the candidate because you have to write the name in. So at least on the other ballots, they list them and their affiliation.
Same as always, the one with the good hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just say not Trudeau? Is that an option?
Yeah.
Well,
Don't see
let's
why
put it-
not.
Anyone who stays home and says, "Well, that's me protesting the election," everyone just thinks you're lazy and you're not actually contributing. If you go and make a mark on the ballot and disqualify the ballot, that is actually considered a protest. So don't be lazy and stay home. Go and actually vote.
Yeah, so if you're gonna go and vote Liberal and you're very fed up with them, go in and just spoil your ballot. For everyone else, vote who you wanted to vote for.
Yeah.
But
Scratch
if you're
everything
going to
off and
vote
write
Liberal,
Trump.
spoil your ballot, please, as a sign of protest that you're
Yeah.
tired of the shiniest of ponies.
I don't know if I follow that argument. I can understand not voting because you disagree with the system, or I can understand going in and spoiling your ballot on purpose because you disagree with the system. I think that's the better option. But I don't know, the whole like you didn't vote so you don't get to bitch about it thing doesn't sit with me. Like that doesn't.
Not to say that they can't bitch, but the whole idea of like people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to vote," and that's me protesting the system. No one looks at how many
Yeah.
people could have but didn't go vote. We just assume
Yeah.
either they chose not to or they.
You're not making a statement by not doing it because, yeah, you just get
I don't
lumped
know.
with all the people that are just too lazy.
Well, I mean, the laziness is certainly part of it. I would like to see like because we recently in recent elections we have had particularly poor turnout. I wonder if we can enforce some sort of a quorum, like a certain amount of the country must vote in order for it to count.
Or like it could be like a lot of things. Like if you don't use it, you will lose it. Right? So like, okay, you maybe get away with not voting once or twice, but if you don't vote like 3 elections in a row, yeah, sorry, bud. You've proven that you can't be bothered to go and do this thing seriously because we are trying to disenfranchise some people.
Someday
It's
I'm
just
gonna
a design.
have to get my board O drops to work again with Zoom, because I haven't made it work with Zoom. But like I need the drop of Tyler saying what we need is a Starship Troopers style democracy.
That's exactly what was going through my mind when he was saying that. And I'm like, no, but I do agree with the, like, if you don't vote, you don't really get a say in complaining. Say you didn't vote last election and liberals
No,
are shit the bed.
I would like to go much further than that. If you're not willing to enforce with violence what you are asking the government to do, you don't get to vote. If
Yeah.
you want to
Oh,
come and take my
absolutely.
guns, you personally should be responsible to show up to my house and try to disarm me.
So which one are you hoping for,
I'm your
Bill Blair or the
Huckleberry.
shiny pony?
I mean, beggars can't be choosers, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
okay.
can
Makes
both
sense.
come.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Understandable. But yeah, no, if you choose not to vote as a protest, like, okay, go in, make the effort to drive the 10 minutes from your house to go to the polling station and do something about it. But if you don't vote, no, you don't really have a choice in complaining how anything is going.
I think you do. I do
If
think you
you're-
do. And
I-
whether
I
you
don't.
vote or not.
No, I don't.
Well, I guess
If you're not going
because
to put in the effort to change your situation, can you really complain about it? Like I can
Exactly.
complain.
well,
I'm
so this
fat
this
all
is
the
what my
time,
argument
but
is predicated on.
I'm
though,
not doing
Ben.
anything
This
about it. Yeah.
is does voting actually change my situation?
all
Maybe.
depends on the scenario. But if you didn't
Well,
bother,
within the realms of our current democracy
Okay,
and how the
yeah, so-
rules work in this reality.
so if you went to vote, right? You've had your say and it didn't work out in your favor. That sucks. But if you did not vote, along with, another 2 million people in Canada, right? And those 2 million people want to complain about it. Okay, but as 2 million people, all depending where they live, what their writing is, right? All depending on those 2 million votes could have changed the outcome of the current government. If you didn't vote, you do not have a say on how anything is going, right? You as an individual in a area, right? If I'm the only person in an area that, 9,000 people vote, and I'm the only person that did not vote, okay, fine, my vote didn't count. But if, half the population in a spot of 9,000 people didn't vote, and let's say, just for heaven's sake, that this never happens, but the NDP got in, right? By the win of like 6 votes or, 60 votes or 100 votes. Okay, well, those half people probably out of protest would have never voted NDP. Do you have a right to complain that the NDP got in you're writing and you did not do your due diligence on?
I think that you do, because of the form of our democracy that we are forced to suffer under, that you do, whether you actively participate in it through voting or not, you do get that right to complain. I'm not saying that excuses people from not voting, but also whether they decided to vote or not does not necessarily change the outcome of the election,
Well, and that's
for better
the-
or for worse from their mind, right? Like,
Well, I mean, the whole I don't believe in the system, so I'm going to not participate in it. It's like it or not, you're still participating in the system because you have to live here, unless you do happen to live in a shack in a woods and don't have to interact with anybody.
Sending packages out?
Potentially.
No, you made the comment there, Andrew, about the you still have the right to complain. You do, but if they and this happened to me many years ago, and it was a municipal politician, and we didn't have a eye-to-eye moment, shall we say, and I complained pretty vehemently, and we bumped heads again a few days later, and his comment was, well, if you don't like how I'm doing my job, you could have voted. So he obviously went and looked at, so, you can say, you can have your say, but they may just say, you didn't even bother to vote, so I don't really care what your say is.
Well, and on the YouTube's chat, Chris brings up a point, like not voting is pretty much saying like, oh, I don't care. So why should you complain about anything if you didn't do your due diligence to say like, hey, I care and this is how it should go? I don't disagree with that.
I see the argument. I guess what I'm saying is I see both sides of it, and I think this is where the not complaining thing comes into it. So if you have you live in a strong liberal riding, but you're not a liberal, whether you vote or not, that riding is still going to be liberal.
You're not going to change the outcome. Yeah.
Right. So whether you voted or not, or whether you believe in the system of democracy that we live under or not, that doesn't change that the shiniest of ponies is the PM, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I see both sides of the argument. That
I feel I have a quote here that's relevant. The masses everywhere are ignorant, short-sighted, motivated by envy, and easy to fool. Democratic politicians must appeal to these masses in order to be elected. Whoever is the best demagogue will win. Almost by necessity, then, democracy will lead to the perversion of truth, justice, and beauty. Can you guess who that is?
One of the books I haven't read yet, so a lot.
I mean, it sounds kind of like Hoppe, but also
that's so.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's not wrong.
I mean, he didn't use any so to speak, so I was not sure, but it sounded like Hoppe.
Yeah, he's not talking about physically removing people in this, just why they need to without saying it.
Well, but so this is again part of the problem. As I disagree with this form of democracy that we have, and we've talked about this before. Too many people have, I think, too much say in how my life runs. People that have no bearing over what I have or do, or for some reason still have a say over how it happens. Right? Like if I want to own a machine gun and I'm not hurting anybody, why can't I have a machine gun? If I want to smoke a plant and I'm not hurting anybody, why can't I smoke a plant? If I want to go on Joe Rogan's podcast, dear Joe Rogan, I would love to go on your podcast just in case that ever comes up. Why can we not talk about eating elk and doing DMT and mushrooms?
Yeah.
Talk about, you mean try it all out.
Well, whichever. Yeah. I mean,
that's how we need to get the invite so that we can do it, so that we can talk about
I want to go on Joe Rogan's show.
No, we all want to. It's a team.
Okay. It's a team effort. I see.
Like, all together, like, separately, whatever.
It's like
I would love to hang out with Joe Rogan and talk bullshit with him.
Absolutely.
But no, if you want to do whatever you want to do with another consenting adult in the privacy of your own home, or if you want to smoke a plant, or if you want to make pharmaceutical grade drugs to do, again, in your own home by yourself, like, who am I to stop you or say you shouldn't do those things?
Yeah, as long as it's not costing me money and affecting my life, I don't care.
Right, and up to the point where it affects me, like it's not my problem. And to the same end, like if I want to own and occasionally use machine guns recreationally, if I'm not hurting anybody, well, I should get to recreationally have some machine guns.
Agreed.
But I don't know, the idea that somebody doesn't get to complain just because they didn't cast a ballot doesn't sit right with me.
I mean, yes, and I'm with you in that I can see both sides of it as well. And it's like, well, you always do, because like you have that right, but also fuck you for not getting out there and at least trying to make a difference, especially if you live in a place where your vote might actually make a difference.
Well, and let's go through the numbers from.
I was gonna say, maybe let's simplify it and just say, yeah, they can complain, Andrew, but they haven't done it. Like, complaining, no one likes a complainer, and if all you're gonna do is just complain and not try and fix it, then okay, thank you for your complaint. Go take a hike, because you clearly don't want to do anything to fix it because you didn't vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is still predicated on the idea, though. This is still predicated on the idea that voting makes a difference, and I'm not convinced that that's true. Because when the ruling party just keeps importing people to vote in their interest because they got imported, no matter how hard I vote, that's not going to stop the liberals from having infinity immigration and
But to
bringing
go-
in people who vote for liberal policies.
To go back to my fat analogy, it's the guy who decides that instead of having 2 cans of Coke every day, he's gonna have 1 can of Coke every other day. It's not gonna not make a huge difference to his life. It's gonna make a little difference, and he'll probably feel it, but it's not gonna make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's maybe like your individual vote really doesn't matter, but like if all of the people that were going to vote in our collective interest decide that their individual vote doesn't matter, then nobody goes out and votes.
Bro,
And
we
then
can't even
lose.
get all the gun owners to vote in their
I
own
know,
interest.
I know. I'm just, and this is the problem, which is why
10
our vote doesn't matter.
10%,
but, like,
10% of the eligible voting population in this country cannot be bothered to vote in their own best interest.
I know, this is the problem. People suck.
We would have machine guns by now if we got our shit together.
We would have
We would
never lost our
have
machine
taken
guns.
away- Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But boomers is the worst generation ever. Destroyed everything for the rest of us. The housing, the economy, the machine guns, so on.
Greatest generation at being the worst.
No, the greatest generation and boomers are not the same thing.
They didn't help us out all that much after. Though.
If
They went
you
and
would
won
like
the war, but then
if you would like a shirt saying fucking boomers, send an email at offthewallscustomizing@gmail.com because I got
I mean, I might.
Yeah.
If you can work a lead paint joke into that, I'm all about that shirt.
Buddy, I'll figure it out. If you want something, you send an email, find me on, well, I'm not gonna lie, it'll be my wife, but we're both.
Find Pierre's wife on the internet.
Yeah.
not in the way that sounds though.
Hey, buddy.
20 bucks is 20 bucks.
Right? If you find that, you subscribe. I won't
Yeah.
object.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
But
off the
yeah,
wall
that's-
customizing it, OnlyFans.
yeah.
That's right. You got to get the market cornered on all the. Is OnlyFans counted social media? I'm going to go with yes for the purposes of this. Let's look at the election polling update. As always, when I look at election polling, 338 Canada, because they have better track record than everybody else, because they use everybody else's research and do something useful with it. Liberals and CPC are neck and neck this week. So September 5, CPC 34%, Liberals 31%. This week they're both sitting at 32. So that's not great. NDP still at 19%. The block is up a little bit. They're 7. They were 6 last week when we talked. PPC big gains. They're up to 6. They were at 4 last week. And the Green Party still at 3%. The big difference, though, is not the popular vote. The big difference is in seats. So what did we decide that you needed? Majority is 170 seats, 169 seats?
170.
Yeah.
It'd be so much funnier if it was 169.
Hey-o. There's a shirt for that. We got to get a shirt for that. All right. So the
Done.
projections for seats are not as promising as the popular vote. Conservatives are dropped down. They were 144 last week. They're down to 129 this week. They could still form a majority, but it does not seem likely. I don't think they're even going to form a minority. The Liberals are up from 133. They're up to 145 now. So they've basically swapped the CPC and Liberals this week to last week. NDP is basically where they were, 32 now. They were at 35. The Bloc is up another 5 from last week. They're at 30 now. They were at 25 last week. The Greens are still at 2, and the PPC is still at 0.03. I don't know. I'm really hoping for a breakthrough with the CPC. I'm going with 8 plus or minus 2, which I know is a very optimistic number, but I'd really like to see some of the Western provinces go PPC, because Alberta is polling heavily towards PPC in a number of ridings.
Well, I think I mentioned it the last time I was here that there's PPC signs all over the place. Like at least in my riding in my area, I'm seeing them all over the place. And I'm hearing that from other people. But yeah, when you talk about the seat projection, I mean, back on the 2nd of September, the PCs had a 55% chance of getting the most seats. And now they're down to, when I looked last time, earlier today, it was 34. And actually now it's dropped to 31. So they're still sliding. And I don't think they have a chance to get the most seats.
No, I think it's going to be pretty close. The popular outcome, I think, is going to be real close to a tie. PPC and conservative, LPC and conservative. The Liberals and the Conservative Party, I think, are going to be very close. And I think the Liberals are going to come out ahead in seats, which I'm disappointed to see that today based on the early numbers, because I thought when we saw that rise at the end of August, when the Conservatives were gaining ground and they took over the projection from the Liberals, I thought maybe we're going to get a Conservative minority, but I'm back with what I had said in the beginning of August. Now we're
I get
still trending.
O'Toole playing the politics. I get why he did it, but I think he also shot himself in the foot and pushed a bunch of people from the Conservative Party over to the PPC.
Oh, sure he did
that.
Yep.
And I have a feeling that they really are underestimating PPC.
I do too.
I think they are. The numbers over the past week have shown the PPC are up. I am curious why the bloc is up, though. I didn't see anything particularly exciting in the French leaders debate. And did Yves say anything in the English leaders debate at all? Because I didn't watch the whole English debate. I only watched the highlights from the French, but at least Yves had stuff to say.
Maybe it boils down to the way the seats work, like you said, Andrew. You said in the past, at least, that Quebec being such a powerhouse when it comes to ridings, people in Quebec, they're either going to vote Liberal or Bloc, right? Like Conservative is way down on the list. So when you're dealing with that large population or that many ridings, to see them lean towards that way makes a little sense. Otherwise, you can go the other way and just say, wow, PPC is doing worse than a party that is in only one province. So that doesn't.
That's fair, Benny. I'm not sure why. I don't know what changed that all of a sudden the bloc is up, because the bloc has been really consistently like 6% of the popular vote projection since the writ dropped, and over the past week, the end of last week through the weekend, I'm not sure why the bloc is suddenly up a projected 5 seats over last week. That's where I'm not, because the French language debate was before we did last week's show. Yeah, right. I watched the highlights from the French language.
Nothing has happened
and nothing that I'm aware of that was significant for Quebec has happened.
Yeah.
No.
Not to say that there's not been anything, but like, why is the bloc suddenly up 5 seats in Quebec?
Yeah, he hasn't come out saying that he's going to give all the people in Quebec more stuff, right? Like for free. So
not that I'm aware of. So I'm curious.
The federal government does that for them anyways.
Yeah.
But
it does, but the Quebecers still vote bloc, which, I mean, good for them. I think we should have more parties that do that rather than just having Liberals and the Conservatives. I think we
should have more provincial parties.
Well, I've said it before. Part of the problem with this is the way that we have the seat system set up heavily favors Eastern Canada.
Mm-hmm. Well, the seat system and then the first past the post system screw the whole
but it's
thing.
It's disproportional to the population. The maritime provinces have the same population as the Western provinces, but the maritime provinces have twice as many seats.
Yeah.
So like it's disproportional representation.
I think it was because originally that's how the population was skewed, but we haven't bothered to adjust that as populations on the other parts of the country have changed.
I know.
Like maybe
if
every
you start
time
doing
we have
that,
an election,
you get into,
we should start rebalancing things.
I don't know, because then you get into gerrymandering and it becomes difficult to rebalance the ridings in an equitable sort of a way. And I mean equitable from like an actual fairness, not equitable for the way the Liberals use the word.
Yeah, but if there was
well, in the States they do it every 10 years.
be a committee that's set up of all of the parties or at least people that have no official political affiliation, and it needs to be done based on guidelines that are established well in advance. So there's no like last minute like, oh, we're adding in another riding in this particular neighborhood because we could really win. You know, it's got to be like if
Yeah.
anything, it's like you agree to the terms for the next election during this election kind of a thing, right? So it's set out.
No,
well in
I see what
advance.
you're saying. I don't know that I like the idea of rearranging the seats. I think part of the problem is just the way that we have the seats set up with the
Well, we should just go to a I don't know, proportional representation system or something like that.
So give you another half bottle of booze in an hour, and I'll come up with better ideas.
I mean, we've had a lot of better ideas. The Liberals ran on a bunch of better ideas. I liked the idea of eliminating first past the post. Not that that's a good enough reason to vote Liberal, but I mean, if they were to follow through on a promise, that would be a nice promise for them to follow through on.
I mean, or clean drinking water. Be another.
I mean, I do like the idea of giving the Indians clean drinking water.
It's okay though. We gave everyone a holiday. We don't need to do that.
Well, a holiday is almost exactly the same thing as clean drinking water.
Yeah, you get a paid day off work.
So side tangent completely, because we mentioned clean drinking water. Am I the only one that has heard absolutely nothing or seen nothing newsworthy in the last, I don't know how many episodes it's been since, but like all those mass graves that were found?
Oh no, Canada Day is over, bro. We'll hear about that again next year.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that I didn't like oversleep a little bit and miss something gigantic about it, but it's just dead in the water now. It's just gone.
Yeah, I don't think it's a wedge issue for the election, so we're not going to be hearing about it until they need another wedge issue or to destroy another national holiday. So tuning in June of 2022 when we talk about it leading up to Canada Day.
Yeah.
Is that just like conservatives not playing dirty, that we're not bringing up that his father was responsible for this, and his lame ass apology is the only thing that he's willing
We
to
can't
say?
sink to the level of the Liberals. That would make us as bad as them.
But to say that his father is responsible for it, though, is also a bit of like the system was in place long before he was prime minister.
Yeah. He just
Did he do anything to stop it? No, but nor did any prime minister before him. So,
yeah,
I mean, he was certainly part of the process for sure, and should be held accountable as every other prime minister prior to him should be as well. They're all equally, accountable, or should be. But he's not like, it's not like all of a sudden there was nothing, and he's like, you know what we should do? Put all the
Round up the engines.
Yeah.
But he was the one caught at the end of the day holding the poop. Right.
Yeah, but like
recent.
I know we got away from the whole
supported it.
blackface scandal, but like if anyone else was caught doing something or supporting anything, so bad back in the day.
Yeah, but okay, you had a conservative guy that bought a $6 orange juice, which yes is absolutely criminal, but he gets fired and everything else.
You don't know that. It could have been a really good orange juice.
Really good, or like a really
it's
big orange juice. It's like it's $6 worth because it's huge.
Yeah,
It
it's
comes
actually
in one of
$1
those-
per liter. It's like 2 of the jugs you get at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Or one of those old school like frosters from the Quickie Max.
It's a yard of orange juice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, was it a shot
But
glass? Or
was
was
it
it
the proper yard?
you're right.
But like, so that happens.
That was Duffy, right? That was Duffy was the conservative politician that got taken to task over his $6 orange juice.
No, he was housing.
That
Oh,
was,
was he
that was that
Wow.
Bevoda, wasn't it?
There
He was housing, and
like,
someone else paid it back, and then he paid him back, or he didn't pay him back, but
But it's the
eventually
same
did
thing,
pay them back.
what passes for conservatism in this country is the minute that they do anything, even towing the line, they get called out and it's the worst thing that's ever happened. Whereas the people on the other side, I mean, they are well past that line of what is and is not acceptable. And it's okay. It's like, oh, it's the thing. We'll just ignore it. We'll just prorogue Parliament so we can't even talk about it anymore. Or like, but think of all the jobs we save by spending these bajillions of dollars on hookers and blow for Gaddafi's kid.
Well, I mean,
but have you
he
ever had a
deserved it.
night with hookers and blow? Just saying.
I mean, not with Gaddafi's kid.
No, I mean, it
Oh, boy.
sounds like a dude. I don't want to be in it, but I'm just saying.
No, but I would party with him on his boat. Like,
No
as long as there was
comment.
hookers and blow, not just him. That would be weird.
As long as it's not just him and the blow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, how many times have anybody in the Liberal Party since they became, since Harper, right? How many times has someone in the Liberal Party had to meet with the ethics commissioner or kind of fucked up real bad for something?
Let's be fair though. The ethics commissioner thing didn't come in that long ago. That was the last Harper term where they introduced the ethics commissioner. So really,
Okay.
the only person who can meet with the ethics commissioner is the current prime minister.
Okay, but let's just go back thinking logically that, so before
Yes, had the
Harper
ethics
was a-
commissioner existed in previous governments, I don't disagree with you. I don't know when was the last time that a prime minister would have had to meet with the ethics commissioner under today's rules?
Trudeau, Justin.
Trudeau the senior, maybe.
The only thing I remember from what's it called is this hour 22 minutes, a whole thing with people buying flags. But I was like 10 at the time, so I don't know. Kretchen did some shady stuff, I'm pretty sure. That's why
I don't know. You talk smack about Kretchen all you want, but like that man will punch a terrorist right in the face.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the next party leader will give one $10 million. What's your point?
And at least when he talked out of one side of his face, he had a medical reason for it.
It's true. It's true. I don't know.
I did not inhale.
Yeah.
Maybe Paul Martin did something. He was a liberal
Oh, okay. So
prime minister for a while. He did what? He was 5 years.
What about Rooney had some things, or maybe they just didn't like him because he's conservative.
I don't know if Mulrooney did anything that was like deserving of an ethics commissioner, though. He canceled the National Energy Program. He had the Meech Lake Accord. He privatized Petrocan. He did some NAFTA stuff. There was GST under Mulrooney. There was
So he did some unpopular things.
the Oka crisis, but none of these things are deserving of the ethics commissioner. I can't think of what else he would have. Oh, Airbus. Airbus was under Mulrooney. That might have been deserving of a visit to the ethics commissioner.
So Wikipedia has a list.
Is it better than my list?
I'm scrolling down to like closer to our era because it starts at 1870.
Yeah, no, the trick is to go backwards, bro. You got to start at the current and go back. So like Trudeau is willing to meet with the ethics commissioner like 114 times or something. Harper probably never
longer.
Harper
So
probably would have never had to have met with the ethics commissioner because the 2008 financial crisis in Canada didn't suck that bad.
Yeah.
And
Also, I'm
not
pretty sure
saying-
his helmet of hair protected him from things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't think of any scandals while Harper was in power. Like,
So the best they get here for conservative, no, there are a bunch of things from 2007 to 2012, but it's like the F-35 scandal, the ETS scandal, allegedly wrongdoing by Canadian government officials in awarding of $400 million information technology service contract. That was the Conservative Party. Robocall scandal.
okay, I guess robocall that could have been referred to the ethics commissioner.
F-35 scandal. We're still paying for it, so
The F-35 thing, I don't place any particular politician at blame with that. That's the Army's procurement. I say Army in a general sense. That's the Canadian Forces procurement process just being shitty.
Yeah.
It's been shitty under every government ever since we started the whole F-35 thing. We've been after these jets for 20 years.
We have a bad history when it comes to procuring expensive equipment for our military.
No.
We have a bad history of procuring equipment for our military.
Literally any.
I can't speak to that, Andrew. I don't have personal experience with that, but I can.
No, I'm just saying, like, literally pick a thing. All of the things have been a problem.
Don't matter if it's good or shit equipment. We've got a problem.
Yeah, expensive, inexpensive, literally
Didn't they
clothing.
Didn't they buy a bunch of used subs from somebody and turned out that
Diesel submarines from England that we couldn't submerge.
yes.
I think it was under Martin's government.
A drone that we bought that we can't even drone people with.
So going further back, we have the Canadian-Afghan defense issue. Apparently, they prorogued Parliament twice. For the second time in a single Parliament, claimed to stall an inquiry into the potential maltreatment of Afghan war detainees. Maxime Bernier himself is listed after leaving sensitive documents at an ex-girlfriend's house with who had connections to the Hells Angels.
Alleged connections. Connections.
But is that like an ethics commission thing, like, or is that just
I'm reading off of Wikipedia here, so
I
don't want to sue anyone.
Had the ethics commissioner been a thing, I can think of, like, there's maybe a couple of things that could have gone to Harper. There's definitely a bunch of stuff that would have gone to Martin. Kretchen would have just punched him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Fuck you, eh?
In and out scandal.
Sure, what again?
Finance rules. But that was also the Conservative Party in 2007. Then it goes back to the Liberal Party. You have the Royal, the RCMP, Progressive Conservatives in '95. Mulrooney.
That's Mulrooney, yeah.
That's what we talked about. And then it just,
I think a bunch of this stuff is like, okay, this was something weird, but like, I don't think that any of it would have necessarily been, them going to the ethics commission.
You know who we need more of in government that we didn't have enough of? John Turner.
I don't even know
I was
who
going to
that
say,
is.
no.
You don't know who John Turner is?
And I was pretty on the ball when I was even.
He was the prime minister between Trudeau's last term as prime minister and Mulrooney getting in.
That would explain it.
No, but like, nobody knows him. He was a Trudeau appointee. He was justice minister. He was finance minister. He was the 17th prime minister. I think we need more John Turner liberals. Nobody remembers that guy. He didn't do anything. There was no scandals. It was great.
So what you're saying is we need more politicians to do nothing.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. More politicians who don't do anything. But I don't mean in the way that politicians don't do anything now. I mean, like, they literally don't do any.
Yeah, not that don't thing by doing a lot that fucks with anything, but not doing anything productive or useful. The literally not doing a single thing at all.
Well,
I feel like Philip is maybe making fun of Kim Campbell a little bit. I have nothing bad to say about Kim Campbell. I don't have anything good to say about Kim Campbell either. I mean, I think she was the shortest prime minister not the physically shortest, like, of stature. I mean, like, she served for the least amount of time.
Really long enough to really do anything good or bad.
You know what, though? Like, aside from the, like, I was the first female prime minister of Canada, she was actually a really good minister, in my opinion. She was Minister of Justice. She was Minister of Veterans Affairs. She was Minister of National Defense. She was Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs. Like, she did have a lot of portfolios before she inherited party leadership and became the de facto prime minister after Mulrooney.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that because...
I mean, Trudeau even forgot about it.
Yeah, it doesn't line up.
Acknowledge that there wasn't a female prime minister already, and that it was the Conservatives that did it.
Well, I mean, she was only the prime minister for like 6 months, right?
That still counts.
I'm not saying it does. I mean, just the tip is still doing it. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, they probably checked with the CBC. And since the CBC is the fact checker for everything, they probably disregarded a bunch of it for a big enough payday that it doesn't count anymore.
Well, I would like to see more. And I kind of joke when I say John Turner, because I think a lot of Canadians don't know who that is when I say that prime minister. But I mean, there are other, I think.
That means that he didn't do anything significant one way or the other.
Well, he didn't, but I think there were other. There are maybe better Liberal Party leaders to have emulated. Lionel Mackenzie King being one of them. That'd be he was the prime minister like 4 fucking times. Was it 3 or 4? I forget how many parliaments he was the prime minister for. I think it was 4. But he was a pretty good prime minister. He was the prime minister through one of the wars, right? He was the prime minister through the end of the First World War. No, Borden was the prime minister through the end of the First World War.
Yeah.
Mackenzie King was the prime minister for the interwar period.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I think back then though, like there was a lot more like liberals and conservatives were a lot closer together in their values and everything. And it's like minor details between the parties, so it really did, it made less difference, and it's more nuanced then. Whereas now it's like all over the friggin' place, right?
Well, I mean, it's all shades of left, really.
Yeah.
Philip on YouTube has been very active, and I fail to see the problem with Mackenzie King talking to his dog. I talk to my dog. I think I'd be a great prime minister. I also think my dog would at least be as good as Justin.
Yeah.
I have 2 dogs.
They both shit on the carpet just as much.
Yeah.
No, I can say my dog actually doesn't really shit on the carpet, but they will shit in your slippers. So you can just pick up the slipper and throw it out. No cleanup involved. It's awesome.
Here's the question. Has
I-
either of your dogs ever dressed up in blackface?
No.
Have you met my dogs?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
No, I haven't, and that's why I asked the question. So
I've got two masters. They got blackface. But they've
they
never done
dress up.
whiteface.
But they've never dressed up in blackface. That's their natural face.
Yeah. So they've never done whiteface, or because then they'd be considered who knows what. But they've never done whiteface.
I can have wearing people in Chicago. Yeah. Your total count off the wiki page is 10 names of the 10 scandals naming specifically the Liberal Party. That doesn't include the 1, 2, 3 that are Justin himself. And then you have 8 for the Conservative Party, not including the 1 naming of Maxim and
but like
scandal.
So I mean, I'm not saying that what Bernier did, like leaving important papers on the desk where his girlfriend that may or may not have been associated to Hells Angels is a good thing or a bad thing. But is that like ethics commission worthy? Like, is that worth a $200 fine?
I'm just trying to give the Liberals.
I feel like we need to do more than fine a lot of these politicians.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to put it in perspective where it's like, is that a lack of common sense? Absolutely. Should there be a punishment for that? Absolutely. That is not him like accepting a free vacation to the Aga Khan's island and stuff like that. That's just like, you're an idiot. Smarten up. This isn't like I gave a contract to my friends and called it a charity thing and they funneled a bunch of money to my mother and a bunch of other people, right? Like, that's not the same thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely, but not an ethics violation. If we were to go through all of the things that all the politicians did that were stupid and or illegal, the Liberals would be astronomical. I'm sure there'd be some conservatives in there too, but I mean, a bunch of liberal politicians have been busted for
I-
kiddie porn and not wearing pants on their chats lately, and all kinds of
Yeah.
other.
Not even
Right.
wearing underwear, let alone pants.
I mean, come on. Have you never just been on a Zoom call and just had to like quickly rub
Get
one out?
naked.
Yeah.
No.
I would, but I mean, we're live on YouTube. Is that allowed?
No, the YouTube is very specific. You cannot handle your guns on a live stream.
Yeah.
What if I call it the pistol?
It's
Hey,
not-
but Andrew, if you put up a sheet, you can play dildo or penis,
I
and it's apparently
prefer
kitty
not to.
approved. I don't
I don't
know.
know what this game is, and I'm already out.
Oh,
I'm-
I only know because of a YouTuber brought it to my attention by saying that this is
By
okay
playing the
for
game
kids.
live on air. And Benny
Oh
was
no
watching.
This that was okay for people to view. I think it was even approved for children, but his political content was not. So yeah. YouTube
I'm
maybe
just gonna
wanna
blanket
fix
say
that.
that that's not cool for kids.
No,
I feel like as a
agree.
dad, I'm allowed to say this now.
I'm gonna say
As,
that, like, even as someone that's not a dad, that's not okay.
On that topic, Andrew, have your opinions on education changed since having children?
Teachers, right in the wood chipper. School administrators, wood chipper.
Yeah.
Bureaucrats
Wood
related
chipper
to the
again to
education
make
system.
sure, yeah.
Believe this or not, straight to the wood chipper.
I can get
Yeah.
you a wood chipper. Just saying.
Oh, and Philip, I'm pretty sure there's just a NDA, and I don't know how much money he paid to get that NDA, but that's probably the only reason why we don't know why he left the school in Vancouver. It wasn't in Vancouver, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the
So,
Gray Point Academy in Vancouver.
All I can say is, as far as I know, O'Toole doesn't have anyone, had anyone sign an NDA for inappropriate or.
I mean, as
alleged
far as you know,
inappropriate
nobody Trudeau hasn't had that for anybody either.
No,
As far as you
no.
know.
Although, can I
That's
just,
how
I'm
NDAs
gonna,
work.
I'm gonna repeat myself here, Andrew, and say that as much as people were like shocked by the blackface in those blackface pictures, I was wondering what his hands were doing all over what I would assume were students, and this may just be my religious conservativeness, speaking here, but in some very odd and inappropriate places.
I don't think those were
I
students
thought they
in
were
that photo. I
teachers,
think it was faculty, but also weird. Yeah,
Still weird.
yeah.
Still
Agree.
super weird.
He did also like to put on a tuxedo with a fake little pistol and pretend he was James Bond. So, he's
Also not.
it's all about banning the guns, but it's okay to like pose like a cool guy to pick up chicks with them.
Wouldn't that be a prohibited item as a replica?
Well, it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
Replica
awesome
firearms
would
are
that be?
prohibited.
This is not fun, but let's do listener feedback because it's getting late.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
going to go to bed soon. From Splatter, pandemic frequency. I'm going to do my very best to read this. I've had a couple of beers that have been a little strong. Good day. In one of the podcasts between 309 and 312, my podcast catcher downloaded 4 in less than 24 hours. There was a brief discussion about stockpiling PPE for the next pandemic. One of the voices, I'm half deaf and can't keep you sorted, said something to the effect of he doesn't know why we'd bother because this was his first pandemic in his lifetime. Whoever said that is either ignorant of recent history or much younger than I thought. The last pandemic was H1N1, swine flu of 2009. Only a few hundred people died in Canada, but the authorities were very worried. I was a nurse at the time, and we were making contingency plans for up to 75% of the staff absenteeism and the breakdown of the rule of law. Most research seemed to indicate the Spanish flu of 1918-1919 was also H1N1, so there was serious potential. The 2003 outbreak of SARS that killed 4 dozen people never made pandemic status, but I'm sure you remember that pandemic. The first pandemic that I remember was the Hong Kong flu of 1968-69, also not very serious, but still caused some concern because only 50 years previous was 1918. So there were still plenty of people alive that remembered it. I was still in primary school, but I remember my grandparents all talking about how it had been. When is the next pandemic coming? China has reported human transmission of H1N01 flu from birds. My understanding is that a new flu genotype, and thus humans would likely have very few natural immunity to it if it ever started to transmit between humans. COVID-19 has a case fatality rate of about 2%. Can you imagine the state of the world if it had been 20 or 30% case fatality like MERS, which is also coronavirus? That's from Splatter. I am not a virologist, nor do I pretend to be one on TV, but I do remember high school chemistry and biology classes. I also remember the H1N1 stuff. I don't remember. I'm not old enough to remember the Spanish flu, but yeah, if you say it was H1N1, I mean, sounds reasonable enough as anything else without having done any research. I also don't remember this Hong Kong flu from the 60s, but not a time period where I was around to be worried. Had I been, I would probably have been at Woodstock and not been terribly concerned about it.
Well, just stay away from that brown acid, man. That was the pandemic there.
Bro, I just wanted to see Jimmy do his thing.
Yeah.
My dad went to a party in the 60s, but I went back home with my dad, not with my mom. So I don't know about that one. But it was just, yeah, no, I mean, I vaguely remember the SARS. Thankfully, I don't live in the butthole of Canada, Toronto area.
I lived there at the time.
Hamilton?
I resemble that more. Yeah.
Anything past Oshawa is all Toronto to me. So I'm not
You're
gonna
not
lie.
wrong.
So I know I'm not wrong. But you know, I remember SARS to a certain extent. Like it was this big thing, and it was kind of, you know, it was a little
I
bit
remember
younger.
SARS, but I'm kind of in the same boat as Shoop here. And like it was a Toronto problem. It wasn't a me problem.
It wasn't
Oh,
even
bro.
a Toronto problem.
Growing up in Toronto and having all the you know, fancy pantsy, we'll call them, kids in my class all walking around with their whatever they're called, the alcohol stuff. And then I remember seeing, like,
Vodka?
all these people. No, whatever it's called, the sanitizer stuff. I couldn't be bothered to remember the
Vodka.
name. So
Gin.
the sanitation, the hand sanitizer, and I'm just like, these guys are silly, whatever. And then I remember laughing afterwards when studies came out saying that you know, it was carcinogenic. So I remember SARS. I remember it being, everyone scared about it, but it not being a big deal at all. In terms of COVID having a 2% fatality rate, yes, but the average, I don't know what the average is actually, but the last time I remember looking at the positive to negative testing, we're looking at something between 1 and 2%. So 2% of 2% is the fatality rate of COVID of your population.
So, yeah,
That's the numbers that are jumping out at me.
I'm just pulling up some stats here, and I guess this is all depends on exactly what we're considering a pandemic, right? Because I guess the technical term means that it affects more than one place or multiple places, but it's not necessarily that it's super dangerous or deadly, just that it's affecting multiple places. But
Well,
according to this, 8,000
is a pandemic not just
people, 8,000 people in 2003 were affected in 26 countries with SARS. In Canada, there were 408 probable and suspected SARS cases reported, which included 44 deaths. 44.
So I'm
Like
still
a
hung up
higher
on
average.
I'm still hung up on the etymology of the word pandemic, because
But that's the
degree I don't have in English is like wearing on my soul here. Is pandemic not just the not the opposite of an endemic, but endemic means within a region. Pandemic means across many regions. Like, are they? They're not from the same Latin root, right? Because pan is just many, and endemic means at a place. Like,
okay, so
again, I'm kind of rusty on
Yes.
high school Latin class here, but like I'm pretty sure endemic means in a place and pan means a bunch of.
I've got the definition here. A pandemic,
Right,
is
it
an
has nothing to do with
epidemic
the.
of an infectious disease that is spread across a large region.
Right, but it has nothing to do with like the efficacy of the disease.
yeah,
it's just literally the fact that like an endemic is a disease in a geographically like isolated place, where a pandemic is a disease in.
So
a
you could have
broad
a pandemic of something that is like completely useless and
common
benign
flu
and does
or
nothing.
cold.
For as long as we've all been alive, the flu has been a pandemic because it's been spread like.
Well, but that's
Right,
what I mean.
and
Like,
sorry,
everyone's
that's my point. Is I
using
think
this word.
they're using the word. You keep using that word. Where's somebody get the Princess Bride drops?
Well,
God,
it's
I gotta
like-
fix the drops so they work with Zoom.
Yeah, it's like, yes, technically this is a pandemic as it has affected multiple regions.
But in the
And
term,
will there be other stuff that do yes, there absolutely in future there will be many, many, many pandemics. But that doesn't mean that it's dangerous or deadly. And
No, but I think
in my lifetime,
the Spanish flu, I think, was deadly, and SARS to a certain degree. I mean, I think SARS is probably the first thing that was like within my lifetime where it was like, oh shit, people are dying from like a microbe, like something that I can't see is killing people.
But I think that's what we're trying to say is that, like, yes, we need to be prepared for these things, but like the person said, like, when was the only other one? Like, yeah, technically we would call SARS a pandemic, but like 8,000 people globally, 44 deaths across Canada.
right. So in the term, in the way
How
that
many? And like my mother was
word
doing
used before.
Yeah, so my mother is doing home care during all of this, and as part of her job requirement was required to get fitted for an N95 mask and wear that when she would go and do calls on people for like medical stuff. Nobody else was forced to wear one of these things. I certainly wouldn't have called it a pandemic using the modern parlance, where it was like, oh my God, we're all going to die, and let's like lock the entire world down.
We didn't. I mean, Australia did, but the rest of us didn't.
Yeah,
also,
so like I
have unkind things to say about Australia, kind of like how I have unkind things to say about Afghanistan, although different things for different reasons.
Oddly enough, they both start with an A.
Well, something about that latter. I do feel like I owe Splatter and probably other listeners an apology. I tried to space the episodes out, but I don't think I did a very good job. I obviously had a little time off from the show in August, and thank you to Gavin and Pierre and everybody else that helped in my absence. But unfortunately, because of the way that the show has to be uploaded, I can only do it when I'm at home. I can't do it from wherever, just because of the way that the podcast stuff works. I was a little behind on editing. I was able to consume some beverages and do some editing, and I was able to get all the backlog of episodes from 309 up, processed and out. I did try to space it out, but I don't think I did a good job. The first couple episodes all seemed like they went out at the same time, and then things spaced out after that. So I'm sorry that you got a bunch all at once. However, if you were a Patreon, you would have got them all a bunch in a row, all like in a block, but you would have got them before everybody else because the Patreons all came out as soon as the editing was done. The other ones, everybody had to wait. Not that I'm saying you have to be a Patreon. Everybody still got them, but
you should become a
Patrons
Patreon.
first come. Well, you get
You
get the show first. You get the higher bitrate encoded version of the show, so we should sound better. Not that we sound different, just that it's encoded at a higher bitrate because we should sound better. And if you are at a higher tier, you get a cartoon by Gavin, or you get your free T-shirt. And now we have T-shirts. Maybe free is not the right word, but like once you've been a Patreon for a month, I send you the shirt because you effectively have bought the shirt. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, you've paid for a shirt. I'm not sure about I don't know what happened while I was off. I knew I was in a couple of those episodes. I don't remember talking about this. Maybe this is something you guys covered while I was away.
I remember talking about all that, but that specific situation where someone said we shouldn't stock up or whatever, like I don't know.
I like the idea of stocking up, and I'm not going to say that like. Not that we were like stocked up before, but like I didn't have to go run out and buy N95 masks because I had a bunch.
Well, but like that's like, what do we need to stock? Like, what do you consider stocked up? Like, the other CPP's level of stocked up where you have like
Well, and that's kind of the thing is like
N95 masks for,
I
like,
had a case of
years,
N95
or-
masks because like occasionally I do
Yeah.
stuff where I want to wear a face mask. Like I don't like sanding
Drywall.
MDF.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, drywall either. I don't do drywall though. I'll subcontract that crap. But like I've been working on replacing a bunch of trim in my house the last year, right? So like I don't like sanding MDF in my garage without wearing a mask because like I know it's bad for me. I don't like wearing the mask either because it's hot and it's uncomfortable and it doesn't fit well because I have a giant beard and like Pierre knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Actually, I think everybody on the show knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You get that weird fucking line.
Yeah,
right
the
here
weird
where
cup.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
I had a case of N95. I have a couple of cases of like non-surgical, non-latex gloves.
Yeah.
I think
Same.
like I wouldn't mind getting a full face respirator with a spectacle kit so I could actually like have like a gas mask with like a good
I
filter
think-
on it.
Like if you do basic dude stuff around the house, to steal a phrase from somebody else, you probably already have several N95 or P100 type masks kicking around. Like if you do any sort of drywalling, sanding of different things, or any sort of like interior painting, at some point you've probably bought a
Bro,
case of
I
those things.
have P100 respirator stuff just for going to the shooting range because of my elevated blood lead levels.
Yeah.
And
But that's it. Like, if
on
you've
that
done
note,
stuff
I
like
should
that-
probably buy more P100 filters for my respirator.
But
But
like,
It's
I also don't know if the stocking up of PPE was related to as a personal, you should have it in your basement, or if this was a, hey, the government should think ahead.
well,
even
probably
the government,
probably
like,
both. Probably
how
both.
many,
Because like
like,
part of this is the
yes.
problem we have is just in time inventory, right? Like everybody has just enough until the next truck comes. And
So
what happens when the next truck
what is
doesn't come?
stocking up? Should we be stocking up to like COVID-19, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, 27 months later where you have to replace it 4 times a day? Like, should we have that on hand in a warehouse somewhere in our
I
basement?
mean,
Just
if
the
you got that kind of
original-
money,
just the original toilet paper shortage, that's where we need to be at.
honestly,
like-
bro,
Yeah, but then,
I'm 100% on board with that. So go ahead, Jeff.
no, I was gonna say then the issue of that becomes the stuff's gonna expire. It's gonna, if you stockpile a lot of it, I don't know how long it lasts. I do remember the SARS thing, and
Yeah.
at my workplace, they had in the basement of the one building, they had probably 30 or 40 skids of boxes of the N95 masks. And after the end of it, they were just basically saying, if anybody's doing home renovations, take a case with you, because but
Because we got to cycle it out. Because
and they're gonna do,
Yeah.
they're gonna, and isn't that
There's-
sort of kind of what happened at the beginning of COVID when JT sent all that stuff over to China, and his argument was it was about to expire, so we gave it to them, and then we ended up not having any. But I mean, that was his
I
excuse.
mean, it's better than not having any, especially for something like that, which, like, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert, so don't take this as, any sort of legal advice, but like, it's a paper type thing that filters some stuff. So, I mean,
a lot of things do have best before dates or expiry dates
yeah,
on
and
them
over
just
time,
for
the
manufacturer
materials
liability
degrade,
because
but
stuff.
like,
Yeah.
if it's
I've
been
had it-
stored in a, moisture controlled,
Well, I think this is a big thing is like,
environment,
because you can't control how people store your product, you have to put a date on
Yeah.
it. Like on the average, it'll still be good in most conditions
Yeah.
based on,
but yeah.
So I don't know that everybody needs to go out and buy a skid of N95 masks. I don't know that
But
that's the
no,
right
if
solution. But
everyone
like,
had
to-
a
to-
case,
well, to your point though, Gavin, if you're like doing basic dude stuff around your house, I don't know. I probably go through maybe a little better than a box of N95 masks in a year.
Yeah.
Maybe I go through 2. And I'm like a pretty DIY, do stuff around the house myself kind of a person. And I go through a little more than a case of P100 filters because of the amount that I shoot in the indoor range. In the wintertime, I go through a case because they only have so many hours on them and you have to change them every month, whether you use them or not. Because once they're open, because it's a sealed package, once you open the package, they've got a life, right? You can only have them out of the box for so long before they go bad.
Yeah.
Whether or not they actually go bad or not, I don't know. But like 3M says that once you open the plastic package, they're good for I think it's 30 days. I could be wrong. I don't have a box for me. So somebody like go on the 3M website and tell me why I'm wrong, whatever. But like the P100s, you got to change them out once a month, use it or not. You got to change them out after, I think it's 40 hours of use. But again, like it says on the box how many hours they're good for. Whether you use it or not, you got to change them. So if you're actively shooting an indoor range and you have a P100 filter or some other kind of filter, like you got to follow that recommendation. You may as well have a case and they're not going to go bad. I think the expiry dates on my P100s are like 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe they're 4 years.
Yeah,
like,
and they're sealed and like, yeah, you'll go through them, but like you gotta have, a reasonable amount, but like I don't think we need to stockpile the COVID levels of things because this is just excessive and ridiculous. But like,
well,
if we all had a little bit of everything to be prepared for literally anything that could happen, because that's just how we should be, because self-reliance is amazing, then we'll be fine. And that gets us over the hump where like the people that are not prepared go out and buy up all the crap
and clean out the store. And that's really the problem. Cause like I thought about that with our N95 masks. Cause again, like there's a case of them just from doing stuff around the house.
Yeah.
So do we sell them on Kijiji like other people at $100 a case? Cause that was a thing. Crossed my mind. I was like, well, I could use $100 because I'm not using these things. They're just sitting here taking up space in my storage room.
5 times $20 is 5 times $20.
Well, but it is though. That's the thing. Like my wife and I were like, well, do we sell them? Do we donate them to the local hospital because they don't have any? I was like, F it. I planned ahead. I bought these when they were on sale at Canadian Tire, and they can continue. And I still have part of that case sitting here in my basement.
No, like I feel, it kind of sucks that a hospital was probably one of the worst hit places to not have PPE. But like, because I was kind of smart and did my due diligence on purchasing products, I should give up the money that wasn't stolen by theft, to plan
No,
ahead.
I get that. And that's the like, do I give this to somebody and be a good person, or like, well, yeah, but like somebody else could do that too, or somebody else could have planned ahead, or I don't know. I think there is a pandemic. I mean, like, so the forces have Op Laser, right? Like Operation Laser is a thing. Our military, our government does not nearly as cool as it sounds, but the military and our government do prepare for these sort of things. They role play or they tabletop these exercises to see if they're going to work or not.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe they don't have every contingency for everything ever covered, but like, and the army would never admit to like having a zombie plan, but like, somebody has figured out like, okay, so if zombies happen, what do we do, guys?
Yeah.
Like somebody's gone through the thought exercise.
Things. What else can we think of?
From what I've seen in movies, specifically Zombieland, double tap.
But like somebody's gone through like, okay, so if we get hemorrhagic fever, which legitimately a thing that we could have happen if we had an index case that somehow got here from Africa, because hemorrhagic fever naturally occurs in Africa. It could get on a plane. It could somehow make it to North America. The person could live long enough to spread it. It's usually like blood mucus transmission. So like they've got to be doing the nasty with some other people, or I don't know, really aggressive sneezing, maybe. I don't know. But like you could have a hemorrhagic fever outbreak here. I'm sure somebody's job in our government or in the military has gone through like, okay, so if we have a hemorrhagic fever outbreak, what do we do? Like, I'm sure somebody's figured out a solution for that. Just like Operation Laser is like, what do we do if we have a respiratory pandemic?
We say 2 weeks to flatten the curves and do it for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's their plan moving forward.
The hardest part of 2 weeks to flatten the curve is the 500 days until they implement the vaccine passport.
Yeah.
That's
Then the hardest part is faking the vaccine passport. Allegedly, this is
Yeah.
a joke on the internet. Don't send ceases to my house again. Wasn't funny the first time. It won't be funny the second time.
I've had enough to drink. I'm willing to take the gamble. I'm looking for some
Yeah.
excitement in my life.
I don't know. I feel like the government should be stockpiling some of these things because like
Oh, yeah.
a lot of PPE is not going to go bad. Like your latex gloves are probably not going to expire. Your N95 masks aren't like they're not going to go bad.
As long
if
as
they
they
do
were
it-
stored properly.
But
Right?
if
And
they
that's
do
the thing.
it properly,
Like
though, they're not just stockpiling it, they're cycling through it and everything. They buy a bunch and then you have a decent safety stock of it.
yeah. And as long as you do that, right? Like, okay, let's say we plan for, COVID 2022 after we allow everybody in 2021 to do whatever, right? And you buy up a bunch of gloves, mask, gowns, whatever, and you put it in a temperature controlled, regulated warehouse, right? But don't forget about it until the next time you need it, right? If
No,
that
and
shit's
I
got a
think that's part of
5-year
the
shelf life, then
Yeah, you got to
4
cycle
years
through
from
it.
now, okay, send all that shit out to every hospital in Canada, and all the shit that's supposed to go to the hospitals in Canada, you send to that warehouse, and then you restart the clock on that 4 years.
Yeah.
And apparently that was an issue with some of the stockpiles of the shit we had in Ontario/Canada.
Shocking! The government didn't plan and execute something correctly.
It's probably because they didn't take enough debt from us.
Maybe we should legislate something to say that we should do what we already said we should do.
I can't tell if Benny's joking or not.
I don't know.
I'm
I
being
tried not to
sarcastic.
laugh.
That's sarcastic.
I was trying not to laugh, but I was like, the second he started, I was like, I know where this is going. I just started.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that part of the problem is the just-in-time inventory system that we rely on. Like that shit doesn't work, right? Like you got 2 or 3 days before your fill in the blank runs out of your blank, right? Like you got 2 or 3 days worth of PPE at your hospital before they run out of stuff. You got 2 or 3 days of groceries at the grocery store before they run out of stuff. Under normal circumstances, not under, because you know what I did? I probably mentioned this on the show before, not PPE related, but like important to my survival. The day that I got sent home from work and told don't come back for 2 weeks, I stopped at the beer store and filled my truck up on the way home. Because I'm like, I'm not going through a pandemic sober. All kinds of after I'm going to be, my wife and my kid are going to be home. I'm still expected to work, but I'm going to be at home. We're not set up for this. I don't know if our VPN at work can handle like everybody at the company being remote now. Cause we just like, they're just like, everybody's a remote employee now. Good luck. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this sober. Right. So like priorities, right? I went and stocked up on beer, but like, my point stands, like under normal circumstances, that wouldn't be a big deal because it's a Friday at the beer store, right? So like, I'm not going to clean them out. But if everybody in my town has that idea and we have 2 beer stores, it's not going to be long before all the half tons are full and there's no beer left in the store. And the same is true of all the other things.
I don't even have one where I live. You have 2?
I have 2.
Why do you live in such a popular city?
The theater is a big deal, but I don't know, man. Like if the grocery store doesn't get trucks every day, like the grocery store runs out of groceries. If the beer store doesn't get trucks every couple of days, the beer store runs out of beer. Like I'm sure the same is true at hospitals. If the hospitals don't get trucks, no gallons, no masks, no gloves, right? Like
I live fairly close to Ottawa. And everybody, at least that lives in Ontario, has heard of CHEO, right? The Children's Hospital. Lots of stuff being done for little kids. And I know stupid me about a year and a half ago was still listening to CBC radio from time to time. And they,
know your enemy.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't in a while, but it was still fairly early in the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And they had a doctor, a nurse, and a paramedic from the Ottawa area on. And the one person who was a paramedic lived out in Almont, which is a little east of Ottawa. He's going up towards North Bay from Ottawa. And he was a paramedic, and his kid was on a trampoline and did something. And, you know, being a paramedic, he was like, well, fuck, now I got to go to the hospital because I know what happened. So he went to Chio, and he parked, was back in his car, leaving in 45 minutes from the Chio hospital. You go there with a sliced head open cut on your kid, you're still 6 hours minimum pre-pandemic. So like, you know, like that's the craziness of, you know, everybody. Like, I know paramedics that were like, hey, you're having a heart attack, you should go to the hospital because you're about to die, and they were too scared due to COVID, you know. And he was like, you got like 20 minutes if you don't get more than medical help than what we can do.
You will be dead.
Yeah, you know, you're worried about COVID, but like COVID is nothing if you don't make it to the hospital soon, right? And yeah, it's just the craziness of not thinking shit through will make your head explode if you really think about it.
Stock up on things you're going to use, I think, is the worthy consideration in this.
Yes, most important is beer and Forty Creek.
I mean, yeah, I mean, my alcohol selection is not dwindling as a result of the pandemic.
Well, a good thing that I heard recently off the other PPC. Yeah, sorry, I'm so tired. The Prepper podcast. One of your new hosts said the things you touch every day. That's the things you should start increasing. So I think it's.
But I don't think I can have two of those.
Yeah, but one for today, one for tomorrow, Gavin. It's planning ahead.
Yeah, we're not talking about what you touch in the shower every day.
Oh no, I didn't go there. No, gross.
Well, someone made a comment that it always goes to the Johnson, so I had to make a dick joke.
A reminder for book club, we touched on it before, it bears repeating. September, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, John Perkins' book. If you use our Amazon affiliate link, we get a kickback. You know, that's cool. TV. Yeah, if you shop on Amazon, doesn't cost you anything. Use the link in the show notes, buy the book, buy anything on Amazon. We get a cut of that. It helps pay for hosting. It offsets that. I appreciate it.
Don't be a complete idiot and do like I did and like made like 6 orders and just been like, oh yeah, fuck, I should use that link after every single order.
I have it bookmarked. Not that I didn't just do that like 5 days ago, but and order mostly from my phone.
Whatever, I'll take it. Like from my perspective, it's free money, and it's one extra step if you're shopping on Amazon. Instead of going to Amazon, you go to like the last set of show notes or our homepage and click on the Amazon link, and I get a little piece of Jeff Bezos's penis-shaped rocket ship.
Just the tip.
It's a big tip. Have you seen the rocket?
More like well, anyway. Enough of the Johnson things. We need to go around the room. I skipped ahead. We need to go around. So, people moved on my screen. Okay, we'll go clockwise again, but people are not in the places where they were before. We'll start with Pierre. Pierre, where can everybody buy t-shirts?
You can get in touch with the company that is only owned by my wife after the Facebook thing I heard today, but Off the Wall Customizing, you can check it out on Instagram, Facebook, I don't know, other places. If we're not there, go to a different social media. We'll be there. You can anything you can think of.
All of the social media.
Yeah, it's on a bunch of stuff. I don't know how they work. So it probably won't be me talking unless it's something that my wife will hand it to me. But you can talk to her. She's a pretty cool chick. We'll figure it out.
Right on. So yeah, get some shirts. Go to see Off the Wall Customizing. Benny, where can everybody find you?
BennyLoose.ca. You know, mag loaders, customizable earplugs, that kind of stuff. Knives.
Jeff?
It can be found on the other CPP. So just send it to feedback@prepperpodcast.ca if you got anything for me.
Right on. Gavin?
You can most likely find me on the Graham Urbex GTA, all one word, or this week canvassing my local area, handing out pamphlets.
If you've listened to us this long, and this has not been a short show. Last week was definitely not a short show. This week, despite not having much in the way of preparation, we've not been a short show. If you've listened to us this long, you deserve a discount code. Use the code PATRIOT at checkout when you're shopping on Ragnarok Tactical. You'll save yourself a couple of bucks. We have a bunch of first aid supply stuff. We have t-shirts again. Yay, t-shirts again. Thanks, Pierre.
No problem.
Other tactical accessories. I am your source for high-speed gear, and definitely not the only place, but the best place to buy Warrior Assault System stuff in Canada. We just got a big order of Warrior Assault Systems stuff in. I'm still adding all of the inventory to the website because we had a bunch of boxes show up, which was great.
I'm gonna have to say
$10 flat rate shipping, unless I can do better, like a t-shirt, for example. If you order just a t-shirt, $5 because I can send it letter mail. If you order 2 t-shirts, I can't send it letter mail. You got to pay regular shipping because it's
Yeah, so if you're
too
going to get 2
girthy.
t-shirts, get a bunch of other stuff, capitalize on $10
Right.
flat rate shipping.
And if you're like Chris and you're local and you want to stop by for a beer, or if you want me to hand deliver your package to your local gun club, drop me an email before you order. I will give you a special code that'll fix the shipping so that you don't have to pay, and I can come and hand deliver your beer and order. The downside to that is you have to drink what I'm drinking. The upside to that is free beer, and free beer is the best kind of beer. Cold beer is the second best kind of beer.
Yeah. Well, I guess cold free beer is the best, then free, then cold that you have to pay for.
Agreed.
Gavin's still trying to rank the beer in his mind. I can see it.
Well, I was trying
Oh
to
no,
think of something
Gavin's
else.
internet's actually just down. Gavin's frozen. Okay. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaca. We couldn't fit Rod into the show tonight. As you can see, we have 5 people on, and that's a good number for us. So next week we're going to try and get Rod on. Rod is going to talk about his experience during the Spanish flu, firsthand account,
Along with how he voted.
I am curious how Rod voted, both during the what was the election that year? 1918, 1919.
Sure.
As long as everyone had their PPE so they could do it safely.
I mean, there are a lot of photos floating around on the internet from the Spanish flu with people wearing a lot of cloth masks. That is definitely a thing.
Or that big bird one.
Yeah, I
No,
think
that-
we need
that-
to do
that-
that.
No, that's the
mask.
Black Plague.
Same thing.
Different.
Yeah.
Oh, Borden was prime minister. That makes sense. Thank you, internet, looking out for me as always. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North, strong and free.